We are on Periscope. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube. Hello, hello, hello. It is early here in Arizona, but I wanted to go over the subject for today, which is expanding your comfort zone. So, hello, hello, hello. My name is Natasha Nurse. I am the coach the hello on Periscope. Thank you. Goodness gracious. Very, very nice. Yes, good morning from Arizona. Early, 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 but it's not too early in the New York and Northeast, so I shouldn't be waking up too many people. But ultimately, I wanted to come on because we have Dear Journal. Dear Journal, guys. So if you aren't already familiar, again, I was saying I'm the coach, the speaker, the coach, speaker, and content creator behind Dressing Room 8. And Dressing Room 8 is a platform that is essentially dedicated to teaching women how to think with clarity, dress with confidence, live with purpose. I started the platform over 4 years ago, and it has been a wonderful journey and probably one of the best things I'm able to do in my life. I do a lot of different things, but definitely enjoy creating content and being a source of motivation and inspiration and activation in people's lives. And so the point of Dear Journal comes down to a couple of things. We as people spend a lot of time doing and being, but we're not always necessarily taking the time to reflect, not taking the time to write out our thoughts, to think about how we want to manifest the future and creating the life that we want for ourselves. And so I find journaling to be very, very, very helpful in helping people come to terms with who they want to be in this world, what they want to accomplish, and how they're going to go about getting it done. So, with that, let's talk about what today's topic is, which is expanding your comfort zone. A lot of people say you want to kind of like break your comfort zone, but it's not about breaking it. It's just about expanding it, because in life, we're always going to be comfortable with doing certain things. For me, I'm extremely comfortable doing public speaking. I'm extremely comfortable talking to other people. I'm extremely comfortable curating content or curating the life that I want and being very purposeful and planning, right? Those are things that fall within my comfort zone. But I don't want to break that. I want to expand it. Every single month, every single year, we should be setting goals for ourselves so how we can expand our comfort zone, because it will help us be better spouses, better business people, better writers, better speakers, better content creators, better community members, better people generally. So you think of your comfort zone as kind of this imaginary circle around you, and you are constantly taking action, specific conscious action, to grow that circle around you so that you can do more things, be better at things you already do, and learn how to improve upon new things that are of interest to you. So if that makes sense to you, then this is a good conversation for you. And I know it's early, but I want questions. I want comments. If you have certain things that you want to talk about when it comes to your comfort zone, maybe there's something that you're not necessarily comfortable with. How would I approach it? What would be my advice? Now's the time to kind of do a little bit of Ask Tasha while we do our Dear Journal. And I think it could be very, very helpful. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not say happy Halloween. Happy, 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 happy Halloween. All right, guys. So I hope you have fun plans for the day. You see, I'm already starting the day with content. I plan to end the day with content. It's going to be a good day. It's probably one of my favorite days in the year, because there's nothing better than a horror movie. There's nothing better than just really enjoying some of the beautiful and scary and deeply disturbing content that some people have made, whether you're a filmmaker, whether you do photography, dot, dot, dot. But to continue with the expanding your comfort zone, I think it comes down to doing a couple of steps. So let's walk through this together. And if you have questions along the way, please let me know. Someone asked me here on Periscope, do I know who Yuri is? Nope, I don't know who that is. So first, but thanks for the question. For when it comes to expanding your comfort zone, first, I think the best way to do that is to first define what are you comfortable at. So that's where your nifty journal will come into play, and you can take the time to sit down and actually just write, what am I comfortable with? Like literally write the question, what am I comfortable with? And so, okay, thank you. Periscope, We got jokes. Gotcha. Alrighty. So if you are thinking about what am I comfortable at, a good way to start with that to answer that question is to think about what you're good at. What are you good at? What are things that come easy to you? What are things that you can do with very little effort? What are things that you enjoy that end up well and successful defined by you, not by anyone else? All right. So those are things to write down first and foremost. Second, I would go to what are things that you feel you are not necessarily good at, but you also like, so maybe things you're not good at, but then also things that you want to do that you've never tried before. Because it doesn't always have to come from a negative place. It could just also be just curiosity, right? There are things, I hope there are things in your life that you haven't tried and you're like, I want to try it. Like, for instance, I was mentioning earlier this year, I want to try rock climbing. I have not prioritized my time to do that. But so I'm not even going to blame it and say I don't have time. That's bullshit. Of course, you have time for anything you want. But I haven't prioritized my time in a way to go out and get that done. And I don't necessarily agree with that life decision, but I think it's definitely going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to hit it this year just because I've been like dealing with some health stuff, but I definitely know for 2020 it's definitely happening. So that's one thing, right? So what's something curiosity is just calling your name. You're just like, I kind of want to do it. I don't know. Should I do it? So that's one thing. And so again, for anyone joining in late, we first write out what are you comfortable with? Then we write out what are you not comfortable with? Also, what are you curious to do? And then what are things that you don't know that you're comfortable at? And so you'd want to try it out. So for instance, for anyone on Facebook, anyone here on Periscope, anyone here on YouTube, if you are a business owner, right? Maybe you are operating a small business and you're doing consultancy work and you are thinking about getting maybe into the speaker track and you're like, oh, I want to start doing some more speaking engagements. Are you a good speaker? Maybe you haven't had maybe too many opportunities to determine that. So that would fall within that category of like, you're obviously curious, but you don't know. You don't know if you're good or bad. And so what would we have to do for step 3? We'd have to get out and try. And so that's where you put into your schedule, literally put it in your schedule, guys. And if you're not already scheduling your life, wow, let's talk, because how are you living? I want to know. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So definitely put it in the schedule and get through it. And so I would suggest, just for spacing purposes, I think you can give yourself like 30 days per item that you're addressing in the uncomfortable, in the I don't know, in the I know I don't like this, but I want to get better space, and break it out. So for instance, we're going to hit November tomorrow. So what's something that you aren't necessarily comfortable with, you don't know if you're comfortable with, and you want to try something out for November. Pick one thing and then spend the month of November working and owning that one thing. So for instance, if you are, let's go back to the speaker conversation. If you are interested in doing public speaking, then what's one thing you can do in November, and hopefully one thing per week to really, really hammer down the point for you to really work on that. So if you're interested in speaking, the best thing to do is to get out and start speaking, start building a little portfolio for yourself. So you see how I'm on Periscope, Facebook, and YouTube? That's a public platform from the comfort of wherever I'm doing this, right? So you can definitely utilize social media to start building up your repertoire of, hey, I speak on and I do content around that conversation. So you can start it there. But then also, what do? So you do that maybe for week 1. You do maybe 1 or 2 live streams for week 1. If you feel like you need a bit more practice before you start connecting with other people, put it in for week 2 as well. So week 1 of November, you do 1 or 2 live streams. Week 2 of November, you're like, I don't know if I loved those live streams. Maybe I want to do some more. Then we come into week 2, we do another live stream or 2 to really get the juices going, to figure out kind of what is your mechanism as a speaker. And you do different topics per live stream, just to be clear. And then what do we do in week 3? Then we start pitching ourselves. Then we look at some upcoming conferences. We look at some upcoming events, meetup events, Eventbrite events, Facebook events, LinkedIn events. What's another place? I think this, but yeah, like all public events, whether it's 2 people that's going to be there or 2,000 people that's going to be there, and pitch yourself. Really simple. The pitch is super simple, guys. The pitch is this. Hello, my name is, I am what? What is your title? What do you do? I am really interested in connecting with, hopefully you're speaking with the organizer or a member of the organization who's putting on this event or this opportunity. I'm really fascinated about, mention the event. Why exactly are you talking to them? Why should they care about this communication? And then I would love to offer my services as a speaker to talk about any of the 3 topics. And then you lay out the 3 topics that you have in mind. Super simple. And then what do we do with that? Then we say, thank you for your time and consideration. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Feel free to reach me at email, phone number. Sincerely, thank you. Au revoir. All right. So super simple. I'll go over that pitch just for anyone who's like, how do you put together a pitch email? Super simple. Hello, introduce yourself. What are you? Good morning, dear. Hi. My name is, I am, I do. And then we get to, why are you talking to this organization? I'm interested in your conference. I'm interested in speaking with da, 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 da. And then you say, because I am interested in offering my services as a speaker to talk on any of the following topics, A, B, C, X, Y, Z, right? And then thank you for your time and consideration. You can feel free to reach me at phone, email. Looking forward to hearing from you soon. Sincerely, da, da, da. There you go. So that's kind of the setup. And so that's what I was. So then we did week 1, week 2, live streaming. Maybe if you already are a member of certain organizations, you can also tap them to say, hey, maybe in week 2, right? Because you started the practice in week 1, week 2, maybe you're ready to kind of get your feet wet a little bit, go outside and either do a webinar or go online, go outside and do an actual event for maybe an organization you're a part of. And then week 3, we're pitching. Right, week 3 we're pitching, and then and week 4 I think you can play around depending upon what responses you get from the emails or the online activity. You can also send that kind of message out on Facebook, on DMs, on IG, right? Like you can utilize that content across different platforms through email, through social media, and then week 4 might be you actually going out and trying and kind of booking something, whether it's free or not free. I think if you're new to something, definitely be open to doing it for free, just for a little bit, just to, again, get your feet wet, get yourself out there, and then set a deadline for yourself as to when thereafter you are only doing paid speaking engagements, or you've worked out some deal that makes sense for you, right? Makes sense for you, makes sense for whatever your plans are, your budgets are. Da, da, da. So does that make sense? That's kind of how we would structure that, like, I'm uncomfortable with speaking situation in the expanding your comfort zone. And so the first step, we wrote out what we are comfortable with. Always come from a place of positivity. Second, what are you not comfortable with? What are you curious about? What would you like to get better at? Then the third step was actually doing it, booking it in your schedule and doing it. So we went over the plan of what we would do for November, right? Which is hello, tomorrow. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Like what? Okay. And then what do we do? Then the step 4 is the self-auditing piece, right? So that's where, again, we come back to the journal. And we take some time and we start reflecting. And so it depends on how much of a writer you are. If you enjoy writing and reflecting more often than maybe the average person, then I think we could incorporate the journaling while we're in step 3. And we could, after the end of week 1, kind of write out your thoughts. How did the week go? What surprised you? What were some things that you felt good about for that week? What were things that you didn't feel good about? And then why did you feel good? The why is just as important as the what in life, always, guys. Why always matters. It's one of the most important and paramount questions you will ever ask yourself. Why? So why was this good? Why was this not good? What do you think you want to do different for week 2? Don't harbor and focus on the negative, but move past, right? Even if you had a bad moment or moments in week 1, they're done. It happened. Get over it, right? Where are we going for week 2? What are we doing for week 2? And then what are we doing for week 3? And then, you could incorporate the journaling bit per step 3 on a weekly basis for that month activity. You definitely could do that. If you're like, Tasha, be easy, wait a minute, I don't write that much. Cool, then that's fine. Then what you can do is you can totally, at the end of the month, sit down with yourself on Halloween. Woohoo! I'm so excited, guys. And you could what? You could do a recap and you can do the audit for the totality of the month, which is also kind of an interesting writing experience for yourself, because why? You have like 4 weeks of content that you've gone through, and things and actions and feelings that you've gone and lived through, so that you can now really contextually break it all out. Because if you write on a weekly basis, what do? Your context is it's a short frame, right? It only gets longer, the context gets longer the closer to the end of the month. So it depends, but some people also are like, girl, I can't remember yesterday. So if you happen to be that kind of a person where you're just like, your brain is, she is everywhere, she is thinking, she is doing, she is living, and she's living her best life, then maybe it makes sense, to break out the writing, and that way you don't lose things. Because really, in the self-auditing process, we want to make sure that we're pinpointing what exactly is happening, and why things are happening. Why did we stumble? Why did we feel uncomfortable? Why did we not go live when we said we were going to go live, right? The why always matters. So step 1, what are you comfortable with? Step 2, what are you not comfortable with? What are you curious to know if you're better at or good at? What are things that you want to get better at? Step 3, activation. Step 3 is the activation. That's where we pick one thing that we want to work on. Don't overboard yourself. A lot of people struggle with goal setting because they have too many goals, myself included. If I showed you what my calendar looked like, you would be like, girl, get your life. Like, I always want to do a million things in a day. And I don't know. I also just enjoy the challenge of being like, I can do it. So I haven't necessarily changed that approach, but for my clients, I definitely teach. If we were working together and you're my coaching client, absolutely break it down into piecemeal opportunities that are manageable, they're lunchable, they're snackable, they're not going to overwhelm you. And then we activate and we do. And then what's step 4? We self-audit. And that's, so step 4 and step 3 can go together. Like I was saying earlier, you can write out the experience as we live it in the activation, or at the end, summarize, come through and write it out. Week 1, I was really, so for example, your journal entry could be as follows. Week 1, I did 2 live streams, one on Monday, one on Wednesday. Both subjects were, get specific, write it out, so you have documentation of what you did. I didn't like the first one. I really liked the second one because I got more engagement. I liked the second one because I said less vocal fillers. I liked the second one because I was able to stick to the timing. I did it in 30 minutes. I said I was going to do it in 30 minutes. Second week, I decided I wanted to do more live streams. So I did a live stream on Tuesday. I did a live stream on Wednesday. And I also spoke at my women's group on Saturday morning. Tuesday live was okay. I was a little low energy and not prepared. Wednesday was awesome. I got 50 people to talk to me during my live stream. It was extremely successful. Saturday morning, the women loved it. They asked me to come and do their upcoming conference in 2020, right? Like, write out what happened, right? Those are all just imaginary things, just FYI. just pulling it from my head. But wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be lovely? It'd be lovely. It'd be fabulous, darling. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. So there's that. And then go, okay, week 3, what did we do? Maybe week 3, you did 1 live stream, and then because you pitched, you heard back from some people, you're booked to do a talking event for a business networking event that's taking place, a holiday networking place. You're going to MC it. You're going to do something. And so that's what you did. And week 4, you decided you wanted to do a bit more pitching. So you spent the week pitching. Also, you were able to cram in a live on the weekend, on the last week. So, we did a lot of, so for someone who would say they're not comfortable with speaking, what did they do? They put themselves out there. They expanded their comfort zone by actually doing. That's the only way. What's the phrase? There's a phrase that's like the only way to get over something is through it. Like, you have to move through the space and the presence of uncomfortability. And if that makes sense to you and it scares you, good, it should. Some of the greatest things in life you will ever do will terrify the shit out of you. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It means you need to embrace it. Embrace the fear. I think someone has a book on that, like kind of like doing things fear, like with the fear, like, and I think fear is something that you can utilize to move you. I wrote about it on my recent Plus Model magazine article. So if you aren't aware of that, go to dressingroom8.com and make sure that you click the Plus Model mag banner, and then you can definitely read that article, because fear is something that you can manipulate. Some people view it as something that is like this overpowering, overwhelming situation that you can't overcome. F that. Absolutely not. Fear is a feeling, but so is empowerment. So is love. So is passion. So is rage. They're all feelings. These are things that you can manipulate. You can be more passionate. You can be in love. You can be angry. You can, right? Like they're all, it's like, it's Halloween, guys, right? It's a mask and you're just changing masks. But it is not a mask that is stuck to your face. It is not a mask that defines you. It is not a mask that stands in your way. Those are all personal choices that you attach to that mask. If it's fear in and of itself is not harming you, it's a experience you're going through, and you can choose to wear a different mask, right? So that's my little tidbit, my motivation for Halloween for you on that. Wear a different mask. When you are feeling like you don't like this feeling, tell yourself, hey, I'm not about this, not today. I'm choosing to wear a different mask. I'm choosing to wear a mask of empowerment. I'm choosing to wear a mask of power. I'm choosing to wear a mask of love. I'm choosing to wear a mask of confidence. Everything, it's a choice. Switch that shit out. If you don't like the fear, switch it to confidence. If you don't like the confidence or you don't feel the confidence, switch it to passion. Switch it to in feeling passionate, right? Like just switch it. So those are some of the key things. And another thing, a couple of other steps I would say when it comes to expanding your comfort zone comes to, and I think this is important. So it doesn't necessarily apply to me per se, because I have like a very, 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 very small network of people that I would constitute friends, or people in my network that I spend excessive amount of time on. If I'm not working, then I'm like sleeping. And my working is all for like my clients or other things that I'm a part of. So it's just like work for me. I don't necessarily, in this stage of my game, in my life, I don't necessarily have an extensive friend group. But for those of you who maybe really do have that extensive network, I think networking is key, and growing business contacts is key, but you have to decide kind of how many people and relationships you have in your life, because they all require energy. So that's just like something to think about and be mindful of. But if you have a strong network and you really rely on your network, like it's something that helps you get out of bed, it's something that helps you really move through those negative and awkward and uncomfortable moments in your life, then one thing you would want to do as you're expanding your comfort zone is to what? Bring your tribe along. Because if you are trying to get better at public speaking and your tribe are all like, who wants to do public speaking? Who needs that? I don't want to do that. Right? Like if they're kind of not about that life, then what's that going to do? That's going to give you permission in your mind to ease back on your goals, to say, well, Jennifer says I don't really, who gives a shit what Jennifer says? What the hell do you want? Right? Like, what do you want? Your life is not a democracy, and your life is not contingent on the beliefs and the ideologies of others. They're not living in your body. Last time I checked, whoever's living in your body, you've got to focus, right, on that person's goals and really, really commit to them. Because if you refuse to commit to yourself, why would anyone want to book you for a speaker? Why would anyone want to give you business, buy your product, right? Like you're not even adhering to your own goals and dreams. So you expect others to? Fat chance, right? Fat chance. So no. That's just no. So if that makes sense to you, right? Give me a heart, give me a like, give me comments. I know it's early, guys, but we've got to get activated every single day. I was just doing a live yesterday in the Dressing Room 8 book club, and it was about the law of attraction. You have got to get passionate and activated and motivated, and I'm excited. I don't know if I've actually done like a motivational content on a Halloween day, so I feel like that's really fun, because as people are thinking mostly about their costume and spending the day on like kind of the fun of this day, there's also it's still an opportunity to do business. It's still an opportunity to expand your comfort zone. It's still an opportunity to manifest your dreams and your goals, and to work. right? One of my favorite Rihanna songs is that work song, because I'm just like, girl, you better work. You better work, 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 work. The work does not stop. It never stops. It never stopped, right? But you have to make that choice. If you're on that work train, if you're on that hustle, if you're like, listen, it's Halloween, but I'm also going to be writing a chapter in my book. It's Halloween, but I'm also going to work on expanding my comfort zone for this month. It's Halloween, but I haven't been taking care of myself. So I'm going to say happy Halloween on Facebook and then go to bed, right? Whatever you need to do, whatever goals you need to accomplish, don't get swayed or distracted by the circumstance of calendar. Nope. It doesn't matter. I don't care if the day is Thanksgiving, whatever the day is. You have certain goals you have to accomplish for yourself. Do it. The calendar does not dictate you. You dictate the calendar. All right. So there's that. And also, in addition to kind of bringing forward the tribe, I would say, since I did talk about the negative naysayers, if you do happen to have people in your network that are not supportive of you, unfortunately, that are more against you than for you, recognize that that's their problem, right? Like, your life, again, is not a democracy. You are not required to have people understand why you do what you do. All you have to do is live your life. You're not required to explain it. Just live it. And at the end of the day, if you feel like there are people in your network that are trying to get in your way and they're not supportive, you have a couple of things you can do with that. It depends. If you are in a position where you don't have to really deal with them and you can kind of X them out of your life, essentially, I'm always an advocate of cutting out the bullshit. Like, call a spade a spade. If this person is bullshit, then they're bullshit. Like, it is what it is. If you are not necessarily in a position or you are not willing to cut that person out of your life, which I'm there, I feel you right there. There are people in my life that I tolerate, but I am not, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of them, and I'm not necessarily a person who is like rah 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 behind them. I wish them wellness, and I speak wellness over everyone because I only want that for myself, so I want that for others as well. But then you utilize mechanisms to learn how to deal with them, right? So if it's like, say it's a relative and you don't want to not talk to them and they're a bit of a bully, what are mechanisms that you can do to deal with that so it's not standing in your way, right? Maybe you reduce the amount of time that you talk to them. Maybe you set up boundaries and you finally focus on what you can talk to this person, what you can't talk to them about. And when they disrespect and they cross those lines with you, you make them know, hey, that's not acceptable. That's not okay. All right. And then another thing you can do is you can decide, right? Like, you can sometimes, like they say, there's seasons in life. So you say, maybe you're not cutting them out, but you're just like, maybe not talking to them for the next 3 months, right? Like, you're just kind of taking a pause. And I'm a fan of taking a pause. I know some people take like social media breaks. You can take people breaks. You can be like, listen. Like, listen, like, it's just not happening, guys. It's just no. It's just no. And so those are a couple of things. I've cracked myself up, and we are like pretty much at that time. So just to recap kind of what this process is. You want to expand your comfort zone. First of all, what are you comfortable with? Write it out. Write it out in your journal. What are you comfortable with? Next, step 2, what are you not comfortable with? What are you not sure if you're comfortable with? What are you curious to do? Step 3, activation. Put it in your calendar, pick one of those things from that list, either one of them, and put them in. Decide what you're doing for November. November's tomorrow. Let's get started, guys. Let's cut the ball. Let's get started. What are we doing for November? And then on a weekly basis, put something in the calendar that is going to force you to expand the comfort zone. On a weekly basis, it's incremental, so it's doable, it's snackable, it's lunchable. And then we also pair that with the self-auditing of journaling, writing down the experience. What did we enjoy? What did we not enjoy? What did we feel good about? What did we not feel good about? What are we doing for next week? And you can either do that at the end if you don't want to do it on a weekly basis. So you do like a whole month recap, or you do it on the weekly basis, kind of auditing. And then it's important to recognize, where your tribe stands with you on this, and then bring them into the fold. And if there are people who are not in the fold that are in the fold that aren't for you, that aren't for this new process you're embarking in your life, then you have to make decisions and you have to take action to figure out how you're pursuing that communication, that relationship with that person, so that you don't get distracted, because before you know it, what will happen? November will be done, on to December. So do you either do more work in this category, this thing that you chose, or are you on to the next thing? And that's how you incorporate it. That's how you expand your comfort zone. That's how you evolve as a person. So not so hard, very practical, tactical points of advice. I would say also, be fearless, guys. Be fearless. Today is Halloween. Happy Halloween. So excited. But most importantly, I'm just excited to be alive. I'm excited to be present with you. And if you feel, I guess the only other advice I would say is, if you don't want to do this alone, which I don't necessarily recommend that. I think it's really a journey. It's a personal journey that you're embarking on, but you can have a support system. As they say, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes people to move people, right? And so some things you do by yourself, you don't have anyone else, right? I'm like a self-starter, motivated person. I don't necessarily need other people, but I do have my touchstone, right? Like my husband's my best friend. So like for him and I, like I love our collaborations and what do you think about this, and bouncing things off of each other, being each other's soundboard, you know, so it is helpful to have another person. So that's why I love also being a coach, because I can be that sounding board for you. I can be that person who's the rah, rah, rah. I like to say the cheerleader and the coach, right? The person who's like, you know, you could have did that a little bit different. Where did we, right? And get you to answer those tough questions that you aren't asking yourself. So if that is of interest to you, what do you have to do? Simply go to dressingroom8.com, schedule a free 30-minute consultation with me. Woo-hoo-hoo! If you enjoyed this, imagine what 30 minutes with just moi will be. So it'll be amazing. It will be amazing, not just because it's Halloween, but just because it's awesome. And I really enjoy being that person who can give you that activation, that strategy, even in that 30 minutes. And if you decide to work together, awesome. If not, I'm so happy to have been a part of your journey for those 30 minutes. Okay. So dressingroom8.com. I'm going to see you there. You're going to schedule me out, because we got to do this, because November is going to be here. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right. So enjoy your Halloween. Have a blessed, productive, amazing, unforgettable day, because you deserve it. And I'm going to say goodbye, guys. So make sure you also, when you get to dressingroom8.com, when you schedule that 30-minute session with me, you don't forget to do the following. Subscribe to the blog, subscribe to the monthly newsletter. Make sure you check out the book club, so that if you are interested in reading more, you come on in the group and start reading. And then definitely schedule the 30 minutes. It's free. There's no issue standing in your way of being able to talk and just really work some things out. Get started for the month. All right. All right. That sounds good. Sounds good to me. All righty, guys. So let me say goodbye on each platform, and then we are out. So goodbye on Periscope. All righty. Goodbye on YouTube. It's been real. I'll talk to you guys soon. And then Facebook.